what I'm going to do, I'm going to start something new. It's something I did before, but maybe several years ago. I want to go in depth on the Kaliya pastime. And yeah, it's been really nice. In the morning I did some writing and I had some time. So I started going to the commentaries that I had on the Kaliya pastime and putting it into my iPad, the different points. And I really found it so relishable. Krishna Anushilanam, the primary thing of bhakti is Anukuyena Krishna Anushilanam. That activities that follow Krishna, especially remembering Krishna and meditating on the pastimes as you're doing it in a very practical way. So I kind of decided that this would be a really good addition to my own sadhana when I have a little time or a half hour in the morning. Put the commentaries within my iPad so I could look at it very quickly and get something. So we will do that now. So it's the Kaliya pastime starts in chapter 16, but it actually begins at the end of chapter 15. So we'll begin there and we'll go in depth on these verses. So chapter 15, text of the 10th canto, verse 47. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Evaṁ sa bhagavān kṛṣṇo vṛndāvana-caraḥ kvacit. Yayau rājan kālindīṁ sakhibhir vṛtaḥ. O King, the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa thus wandered around Vrindavan area, performing his pastimes. Once surrounded by his boyfriends, he went without Balarāma to the Yamunā River. Om Agana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Taksur Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. So greetings from the Vaishuddha Ayurvedic Hospital. Really interesting. The people who run it are so nice, and they took me and I'm here with Krishna Kshetra Maharaj and Niranjan Swami and Bhaktivedanta Goswami. So it's great association. And they took us to the other center they had, about an hour away, where they make the medicines. And they really have integrity. It kind of gave me faith in the medicines I'm taking. And they had 1,200 different herbs, collected from all over India. They hire people in the Himalayas and very acute processes, sometimes grinding something 50 times. And anyway, it's just room after room. And they never sell their medicine. They just use it in the hospital. But it was kind of really interesting. And I read a story by Prabhupada. I heard a story by Prabhupada where he had a terrible mouth infection, tooth infection. And the dentist didn't help him, and someone took him to the forest. And someone gave him an herb, and it sucked out the poisons of his mouth, and he was better. And Krishna says, I am the healing herb, which also makes you understand more and more the criminality of the pharmaceutical industry, where people's health is getting worse and worse. Yeah, so when I got here, they gave me their own toothpaste and their own mouthwash. And every evening, because somehow after I got my teeth done when I was down in Colombia, somehow or other on two different sides, I don't know if a nerve, but I couldn't take any hot or cold, or if I would chew some sweet and it get painful. And yeah, it took away the pain. And I just saw how much even the people that make the medicines have to be of a certain character, and they won't give someone that job with it. It's just maybe 15, 20 rooms of different things, what they do with the medicines. And it was just a very elaborate, deep process. So it was really interesting. But anyway, this story is interesting because this is a story of Dhanurdhara. And if you remember that there was really some sweetness, there's Aishwarya and there's Madhurya. Aishwarya is grandeur, and Madhurya is sweetness. Like someone may not be very powerful, but he may be very sweet, but that's an opulence. Of course, Krishna is both Madhurya and Aishwarya, but I'm just showing that Madhurya is sweetness in love. And Aishwarya is reverence in power. So Isha Cheshtata, Krishna also performs Chesata activities that show that he's Isha. So these donkey demons, Garbhasura, Krishna had to kill them. Balarāma actually killed them, but it was Aishwarya. It was powerful. And boy, sometimes mundane things come into your mind that only people my age would understand. But I always think of this, that when Balarāma killed the demon, he was nonchalant. I don't think anybody saw Car 54, Where Are You? But Tudi and Muldoon had that conversation of which sports guy was more nonchalant. But anyway, it was very much powerful. But then after that, Krishna comes home, and how his mother deals with him and bathes him and feeds him. Krishna goes and he milks the cows, and when he's in the Goshala with Balarāma, they're just young boys, and they have duties of taking the buckets and getting the milk and transferring it. And they're just dancing together. Krishna is so sweet. Even the imprints of Krishna in the dust of Vṛndāvana, it's not just his feet. It's his body, and people can tell the different pastimes, just like when Srimati Radharani left the rasa dance, and the gopis And Krishna also left with Radharani. The rasa dance is perfect, but Radharani is the binding completeness desire. And without her, there's no love anywhere, because she's the personification of the Ladini Shakti. And she brings out the sweetness of God, which can be enjoyed in any of the relationships. But it's so sweet. Threefold bending form and playing of flute, and cows in the forest, and Krishna's feet, and his relationship with the dust of Vrindavan as he puts his feet down so softly, because there's relationship, because the land of Vrindavan sustains and maintains everything, including Krishna's footprints. So there's sambandha, there's connection, and there's prema, there's rasa, just with Krishna's foot touching the dust of Vrindavan. And it's so sweet. It's so sweet. But then, now, this pastime with Kaliya, again, will be Krishna's Isha Cheshtata, activities of a controller. So powerful, dancing on the hoods of the serpent, killing this giant serpent with many hoods. So this pastime is really so beautiful. So Krishna, this is how it begins. Explaining that Krishna, who is Bhagavan, who is God, and who arranges this lila or rasa vaisaha. The Upanishad said he is this height of love. When Vyasadeva was chastised by his guru Narada Muni, that despite all his attempts to present the absolute truth in his desire to, communicate it to the audience. Vedaishcha sarveham eva vedyo vedanta vid veda videv. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. He did not present Krishna directly enough. He didn't extend himself to where he could have presented Krishna if he did it expertly, without losing his audience. And it wasn't an easy task. So when he was chastised, Bhakti Yogena Manasi, he engaged his mind in Bhakti Yoga. Maybe deep prayers, oh Radha, oh Krishna, please reveal to me your truth. Maybe he was just meditating. Maybe he was chanting. Samyak pranayate malay, but samyak completely pranayate without perfect yoga. Vyasadeva went into meditation. And then with that meditation, he had the revelation of the absolute truth. What is reality that he would to be explained, which is what? Apashyat Purusham Purnam. Purnam means he saw God. Apashyat Purusham Purnam. He completely saw the person God. Maya Chitad Apasayam. With his energies under his control. The person was not a product of Maya, but rather Maya was the energy of God. that is under the control of God. Or Maya means the energy. So what he saw is, what is the ultimate reality? It's God exchanging with his energies. There's Shakti and Shaktiman. There's the possessor of energy and there's energy. And there's an exchange. And that's what reality is. But the chief potency is the internal potency, which has three divisions. One is Ladini Shakti, the pleasure potency, the essence of which is love of God. When it's heightened, it becomes Mahabhav. And Mahabhav Sarut is Sri Radha, and Sri Radha is the Purna Shakti. So is she the Ladini Shakti or the Purna Shakti? She's both. Because the essence of all Shakti is to please. The essence of God's energies is to exchange with him in love. And that's what he saw. He saw Krishna's pastimes. He saw the 10th canto. And he saw the pastimes of Krishna, which was rasa. And rasa means God and his devotee in a perfect exchange that brings love to its height. And he saw that. So here it's described that it's going to describe this Kaliya pastime. And here's how it begins. Sukadev is talking to Maharaj Parikshit, and he's telling that Krishna is wandering around Vrindavan. Actually, before this pastime, I believe Krishna swallowed the forest fire, and he was wandering around Vrindavan. Even though he's Bhagavan, he knows everything, and he wants to, there's a reason he wants that the Yamuna is being polluted by this demon, Kaliya serpent. He wants to go there directly, but he doesn't go there directly because he has a plan. And it'd be real late there. Why doesn't he go directly? But he's wandering around. And he's without Balarāma, which is very, very unusual, because one of the reasons that Mother Yasoda, in her intense, deep love for Krishna and her mood of that love is parental love, which the flavor is mercy. Mercy means you are dependent on me. I'm giving you something you don't have, which is protection and maintenance. That's Mother Yasoda's love. And therefore, in that Leela, she won't let Krishna go out to the forest generally without Balarāma. And Balarāma is very, very protective. In this pastime, Krishna is going to climb up a very, very tall kadamba tree. But if Balarāma is there, there's no question of him allowing Krishna to go. He's very protective because there's a type of friend. Balarāma, the brother, is a friend, but the older brother is a friend which is called surit. It's a well-wisher. It has a little bit of a parental feeling in there, the older brother. But it's here it says, Rite Balarāma. He went without Balarāma. Because if Balarāma was there, the pastime couldn't happen. And this is why Krishna here is called Bhagavān, because ultimately, by his energies, but not without his power and Shakti, the pastime is going to go on to increase that rasa. And Balarāma can't be there. And in that pastime, he has to stay with the parents, because if Balarāma is not there with them when they go to the Yamunā River, Krishna is their life, and without Krishna, there's no life. And I'm sure many of you here, probably, I'm seeing some mothers are here. What sacrifice won't you make for your children? And what to speak if the child is Krishna, the supreme attractive child. Krishna, attractive. And what does he attract? He attracts one's love. He draws it out of the heart in the unlimitedly intense way, which is his pleasure and the pleasure of everyone else that he wants to share in the ultimate reality. And therefore Balarāma, because if those parents, if they came, they would run into that water. And it's going to be described later how poisonous that water was, that basically it was so poisonous from Kaliya being in that lake that even smelling it, one would fall down dead. And in fact, in terms of the pastime, and it's going to come out, because they were going and going and going and then playing and going, and they didn't go directly to that Yamunā that day, and they became so thirsty. Dayato vishyam pumsa sengo sajayate kama, that when desires become so intense, if it's not fulfilled, one gets frustrated and bewildered. So not only them, but the cows, all at once. And they never do anything without Krishna. In fact, here it says that Krishna is going to, the image is Krishna is surrounded by his friends. He's surrounded by his friends. And why is he surrounded by his friends? He's Krishna. He's all attractive. This is the most intense love. All other love is based on this love. Love is pleasure. We're all seeking it. And there's an ultimate love, and it's perfected in certain souls. And they're always surrounding him. And why they're surrounding him? Because they want to look at his face. This is the ultimate, I don't say groupies, but this is, I mean, it's not, you know, I remember when I was in New York when the Beatles came to America, and I remember exactly where I was in my room with my mother, and, you know, and the television came on, and these young girls were screaming and fainting, and the police were carrying them out. If you ever see those videos, it's insane. That's a dim reflection of the attachment for Krishna and his friends. They just want to look at his face. So when he's going through the forest, they're just surrounding him. And when we hear this in our hearts, we pray, I want to have a relationship with Krishna. I want to have a drop of that love. And they're also surrounding him because he's Krishna. So even though they're friends, but there's this person in this village where every mother is attracted to him more than their own child. And you love those whom you love. So cowboys also love Mother Yasoda. And they're also surrounding him. There's this sense of protection. It's wonderful that there's a center of existence, because then there can be harmony. There's wonderful, this is a center of existence. You know, I was thinking of the concept of God because I was with, and this has been great for me, just the association of these are like exalted souls, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Goswami, and Rājan Swami. It's like I hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot of Sanga. And we take our meals together and we do kirtan in the evening, and everyone has their own space. But I was speaking to Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, and he was sharing me an article that he wrote, and I found the topic interesting. And I asked him, I'm not going to write a scholarly article for the journal, for some philosophical journal you're writing, but my own way, I think it's good for Monday morning greetings. And there's an argument, the hiddenness of God. The two strongest arguments against God is the existence of evil, and there's one called hiddenness. And hiddenness means if there are those that are not resistant to God appearing, then why won't God appear to them? And then in my mind, I'm going to answer this probably in not the Monday morning greeting coming up, but maybe the next week, because whatever Krishna gives me, I should write on, because you don't get many realizations during a week that are new. But I was just thinking, the atheists think it's just ludicrous that the conception of God is such a ludicrous. I saw these two chief atheists. One was a famous magician, and one was Richard Dawkins. And they were interviewing each other, like the concept of God is such a ridiculous idea. And I was just saying, yes, it sounds, how is it possible that there's a supreme being, it's a supreme being? Why is he always existing of all time? How is that possible? Wrap your mind around it. Why that person? And he's always existing. There was never a time where he's not existing. We can only think of existence in terms of creation. So how is someone always existing? And why is he always existing? But at the same time, there is reality, and you have to account for how reality came about. And if you want to it just be equal or fair, what is the atheistic creation myth? That something came from nothing? That something came from nothing? And even going to this pharmacy, I mean, it was really, they took us, there's like this room, half size of a football field with all these trees and herbs and roots. And they were like, boy, they gave us a piece of a real hing. Oh my God. And then you see different people in different rooms, just, if they do it 1,000 times, it says you have to crush it to the level of the atom for it to have potency. And then there's one famous medicine called Shilajit. It's like a miracle thing, paste. It comes from a tree. We see someone 50 times they have to. And saffron, that was just like, oh my God. I think it's 4 lakhs a kilo. But they all have medicinal things. How? Where? From nothing comes. How does something come from nothing? Somehow I'm getting off on tangents today and forgetting. I just go on and maybe I hope to get another role, so to speak.
Where is this pharmacy, Maharaj?
It's in Kerala.
Kerala, okay.
I'm in Kerala now. I'm at an Ayurvedic hospital, taking advantage of my age, that I decided I should do a complete purification. That's what I decided, that it would be an intelligent thing to do at my age, to do a complete purification. But back to and we'll see you soon. I'll tell you more about it. It's really interesting.
I look forward to it. Yeah.
So anyway, so they're surrounding Krishna, and so you get this scene, but what the scene is also Sukadeva Goswami is telling this to Maharaj Pariksit. That's also there. It's the story and the story of the story. And he calls him Rājan. Rājan. Rājan means, O king. O king. It's in the vocative, O king. This is going to be difficult to hear. And so, O king, but also Rājan in the Sanskrit, O king, but it could be bhagavān rājan. And Rājan also has two other meanings. One means especially beautiful, and the other means especially effulgent. So why especially beautiful? Because Krishna is Bhagavan. He knows that he's going to have this pastime, that he has to go in the water like that. So he dresses in a way where his body is more exposed, and therefore he's more beautiful. And he doesn't wear his jewelry because he understands later the Nagapatnis, the wives, they'll give him that jewelry. They'll give him gifts of ornaments. So Rājan, his body is effulgent in itself. So he's performing his pastimes, and once surrounded by, he went to the river without Balarāma. We'll do one more verse for today. Ata garbhas chagopas cha nidagat tapa pidita dushtam jalam papustasyas trishnarta vishadushitam. At that time, the cows and the cowherd boys were feeling acute distress from the glaring summer sun. Afflicted by thirst, they drank the water of the Yamunā River, but it had been contaminated by poison. So Trisha Arta, why they drank the water? They were tormented by thirst. And they went immediately. And then they all fell down immediately, and some actually fell into the river. And they all went at once. And then we'll read the next verse. Or maybe next time. Vṛtaḥ. So I explained this before, that Krishna can become forgetful if it will enhance his love. And these are his friends. And he sees that his friends die. Yeah, I just got a message from someone I knew, someone close to him was murdered. And the depth of that type of grieving, the person wrote me, he was a wonderful human being. It's a long story, but it was his personal bodyguard. And I was just thinking how heavy that is. And what is the emotion? I saw the emotion on the person. He was grieving, and I wrote him some condolences, and just, which he appreciated, just some words of wisdom. I wrote him that how tragic it is. The soul is part of God. Death is not the end of existence. And this person was a good soul, so he's with God. But it's very sad. But what did Krishna feel like when his friends go, and they go before him, which is because they're surrounded, they're looking, but all of a sudden they're so thirsty that they just run to this water, and they drop in and they fall in the water, some of them, and they fall on the ground. And it's so heavy that it didn't describe what they looked like when they be poisoned. It said tata bhutam, in that condition. It didn't say what that condition is. Marge Cricket wouldn't be able to hear it. We wouldn't be able to tolerate hearing. If we have a drop of love, hearing how the cowherd boys are writhing on the ground, or actually immediately they just died. Immediately they just died. Immediately. But then Amrita Varshīnya Ikshaya Yogeshvara Ishvara, the master of all masters. It's not just Yogeshwara, it's Yogeshvara Ishvara. It's the master of all yogis. And Amrita Varshīnya, Krishna, he expands and he's feeling it. Actually, it's so extraordinary that these emotions are with God. And even I saw with my friend, this is an old friend, no one would know who he is, but, and I saw with my friend the depth of his grieving, but the depth of his love. So Krishna has love, and he's just feeling so deeply. And Amrita Varshīnya, and the glance, which is a shower of nectar, swanatam. And one time in Govardhan, I was walking by a place and it said Anathalaya. Laya means place. Anatta means a place where there is no controller. And I think some of you heard my class. What is a place? Anatta means orphan. In a proper culture, to not have a protector or controller. Controller doesn't mean just dictating. It means shelter-giving person, of superior shelter-giving person. A child wants a protector, someone who looks after him. So who is it? Who is Krishna? Swanatam. These are, they accepted him as their, in that role. And Amrita Varshinya, and he glances at them with a shower, a rain. Rain, his eyes like rain. And what does it rain? Amrita, or nectar. And Amrita means what? Just as the poisonous water took their life immediately, Amrita means without death, or nectar. Nectar means also an elixir that gives eternal life. As quickly as they died, that's as quickly as they're revived. And what are they revived by? Krishna's compassion. And one of the commentators says a very interesting thing. This should be our mood in going to see the deities. Swanatam. He is our protector. He is our master. And we need that help as much as the coward boys had died. We have died spiritually. And in our death of the soul, which we all feel, with the death of the soul, which we all feel, we should go before God and attract the Amrita Varshinya, the nectar of his glands, to give us life and bring us back to life. We're dead if we identify just with the body and not the soul. That's life. Life is the soul. So as soon as they touched the poison water, all the cows and boys lost their consciousness by divine powers of the Lord and fell lifeless at the water's edge. O hero of the Kurus, stay strong, Maharaj Pricket. This is heavy. Seeing him in such a condition, tata bhutam, not what the condition was. That cannot be described. It's too painful. Seeing him in that condition, Lord Kṛṣṇa, the master of all masters of mystic potency, and it's not intentional. He didn't think, let me bring them to life. He just said, my friends. And his sorrow and his wishes and his love came from his eyes. He wasn't planning that way. He's in Naralila. He doesn't feel he has that potency. But it comes from his eyes, his compassion. For these devotees who Swanatam had no other Lord but him. Thus he immediately brought them back to life by showering his nectarian glance upon them. So much. In a second. And again, the word poison is mentioned. And when you mention something twice, any editor knows it weakens the writing. But in Sanskrit, to emphasize something. So what's emphasized is the water, Shrapyamana, except by the shores, somehow or other, by the mystic potency, the water was clear. Otherwise, the coward boys may not have been able to drink it, but it appeared clear. But actually, if you see in the center, it was boiling and dark and gray and poisonous, and so poisonous that simply by touching it, by the mystic Daiva, and then there was another very, very practical point here that one commentator meant that I thought really is that when you create enmity with another person for no good reason, it's not appreciated. I don't get in and making a comment on the politics of Russia, Ukraine, but anytime there may be a good reason, there may not be a good reason. Krishna also had a good reason, but it has to be overt. That's why sometimes when one country wants to attack another country, they create a false narrative. They may plan themselves to be bombed, so, and say it was the other people, because no one likes that. No one likes a person who creates enmity with another person for no good reason. So one reason that Krishna arranged this, that his friends were killed, he knew that Kaliya should be removed, but he wanted there to be no doubt that he was killing Krishna's friends, his own things, and he had to go. And he teaches us that we shouldn't create enmity with anyone unless they harm us directly. We should be, so he wanted to set this and show this example. And not only that, because in one sense you could say, well, he could have done it in other ways, but because the pastimes are for his rasa, and they're also the subject matter to enlighten people and attract them to Tvasmin Parama Prema Rup, the highest form of love. He wanted to show his extreme affection for the cowherd boys and the cows. And it also has an inner message about Vrindavan. Krishna doesn't keep in Vrindavan people whose deeds and thoughts create enmity for other people. They will be removed. I've been to Vrindavan for 47 years. Anyway, this was the beginning point, so I want to get more and more into the story. Generally, it takes time to get off a little bit. Okay, Yamunā Jaya, because I have about 7 minutes and then I have a call. Did she have to go? She probably had to teach. Oh yeah, she couldn't attend today because she had to teach. Anybody else like to say hello before I go?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. I just found your last statement interesting, that one should not create enmity with others unless the harm is direct. But I'm like, how do you stand idly by if someone is directly harming those you love?
I guess that includes it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah,
that
I think it includes. In other words, the enmity has to be direct. With Kalia, it wasn't that apparent because he was in the water for many years. That's where he was living. He was protecting himself from Garuda. He had to take shelter. So it wasn't that apparent, and Krishna wanted to make it, but still he was polluting the Jamuna. Krishna wanted to make it more apparent. That was the point. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Gail.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That hair of illogic, right there. That's what happens when I just repeat things without thinking them deeply. Then you have to think them deeply. And okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Isabel, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you soon.
You excited?
Very scared, excited, nervous, all the above.
There's no reason to be nervous when you get to Puri. The weather will be perfect. And it's such a pleasant, we'll have great kirtans. And you can just walk out of your room. Or you can sleep on your bed, you'll hear the kirtans because it's a courtyard. And all the rooms surround the courtyard. So you're beautiful. Always at the kirtan. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever Krishna does is best. Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gamaraj, it's Lal Govinda.
And Braja, thank you for the class.
Okay. Hey, Haribo. See you soon, Lal. Just leaving your poor wife there alone. Where's your sacrifice in this relationship? Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you for class. Amla.
Amma, what are you doing in Albany? You're a sadhu. You should be in Govardhan in a cave. You got the best profile.
Thank you.
Okay, Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. It's Karuna.
Karuna, where are you, Karuna?
I'm out walking the dog.
Okay. Well,
but I wanted to say hi.
Talking about the Mahabharata, and Yudhishthira wouldn't proceed without his dog. So
it's Mina's dog, but she left the dog with us. So
okay. I didn't think you had a dog. I'm happy now. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here.
Kishori Radha. Priya.
Wow. We're all going to meet in Braj. Krishna willing. Okay. Anybody else?
Yudhishthira Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Bo. Yudhishthira, did you ever get in touch with that lady?
Yeah, she, it was a little delayed, her response, but thank you. She was attending to someone who was in her final days.
It was really full on.
Yeah.
There was a person that was like almost a grandfather to her, an older. I wrote an article called The Tale of Shlomo in one of my Monday morning greetings. And he was, it's nice that I get this saying. So he was always, because he had daughters himself. He was an older man, but he had daughters himself. So when he came to the temple, he knew how to treat young girls. So her and her friend always felt protected by him. And he was very heavy if he thought that anybody wasn't treating them with the right care. So they became very attached to him. And he just wanted to leave his body in Vrindavan. He was over 80, so about 5-6 years ago, he just came to Vrindavan. And, he got his wish. But somehow they thought it was an infection and they could cure him, so they brought him to the hospital. Once they got him to the hospital, the doctors were always saying, no, we can cure him, we can cure him. So they kept him in the ICU. So she was so faithful that she actually stayed in the hospital. And then she's also very together. So coordinating it with the parents and the daughter, the person's real daughters who must be in their 50s, so good that she got back to you. Okay,
Yeah,
Haribo.
Thank you for everything. Haribo.
Okay, Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Narma Sakhi. Thank you for the class.
Wow, great to see you.
Yeah.
Will I see you in Braj?
Hopefully, Maharaj.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class.
Hare Krishna. Oh, okay, very good.
Hare
Catalina.
Krishna Maharaj, how are you? Very nice to see you. Thank you for class.
We'll see you in Colombia soon. We have a nice group. We filled up the ashram completely.
Wow.
And it's going to be great. Jai Jagannath and Sundar Gopal. So I hope you can get away for some of the program.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much.
You. And bring your daughters to see me. I'll be there for 3 weeks.
They will come to visit you, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
love for you. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to head out because I have a call right now.